Hi, I'm Fiona Kacz-Boulton from Awakening Fertility, and I'd like to make a fertility smoothie with you today. Now this smoothie is different to my other smoothies that you may have seen because this is for all seasons, and I'm going to break it down so you can understand why I'm using certain ingredients and what they're for. The best thing for fertility is raspberries. So with your smoothies, your goal is to have as much nutrition as possible in the morning. You can make a big lot and then have it throughout the day, so perhaps it's also your morning tea. Again, it's just fighting full of nutrients, which is what you need. Okay, punnet of raspberries. These are quite expensive and only buy organic. On that topic, if it's got a soft skin that you're not going to remove, unlike a lemon or an orange or anything like that, then you've got to have it organic, because otherwise you're absorbing all the toxic chemicals that they've sprayed on the berries. Also, organic has twice the amount of phytonutrients, so you're getting twice the amount of goodness. So it's worth investing in. All right, in go the raspberries. Next are my 2.5 to 3 portions, daily portions of spinach. Spinach is brilliant for fertility, but it's important that you rotate your greens, so you're not always having spinach. I've got an option here, which you might like to choose, which is kale. However, if you have thyroid problems, don't have raw kale. Stick to your spinach. Have things like celery and the heads of your celery, or the heads of carrots, the greens of the carrots. I'm going to put this in as well because this has great nutrients for bones. Now, when you're pregnant, your baby's going to absorb what it needs from your bone marrow. So you want to make sure your bones are nice and strong. So in goes the celery. Another green, which is not necessarily for fertility, like the celery, is one of my favorite. It's my favorite herb, which is parsley. Now, parsley is great as a blood toxifier. It also supports your adrenal glands. Now, your adrenal glands are like your body's batteries. It's important that they stay nourished. So even if you don't like parsley, like my partner, and I sneak it into his smoothies, he never notices. I like quite a lot, so I'm going to give myself as much as I can handle. You don't have to trim as much as I have, and please do trim your herbs because plants have feelings. I know it sounds very hippie, but it's true. And so you want to thank the plant and absorb more of its nutrients and wisdom. Now, another thing that makes this more seasonal for all seasons is that I'm putting in ginger, which is great if you live in the Northern Hemisphere because it's cold for a long period of time. So you could go pretty much all year round, even in summer if you wanted to, but not necessarily in summer, to have ginger, because ginger is very warming. And you want the warming ginger to balance things, particularly if you're having chlorella. Now, I've got other greens that I'll be working with today, other green superfoods, which are 10 times better than chlorella. And if you're going to invest £10, why not invest 15 and actually get something that's 20 or 10 times better? So in goes the ginger, not too much, otherwise it can be a little bit burning. All right, now the next thing I'd like to add are some, again, optional. These are black roasted sesame seeds. Now, sesame seeds are brilliant for calcium and potassium, and a lot of people that aren't eating meat whilst they're trying to fall pregnant, which is fine if that's what suits you. I'm not advocating that everyone go vegan. There are pros and cons with meat and with animal products, pros and cons. So I do support the pros, and I just don't support the farming methods, unfortunately. But anyway, that aside, if you can grab more black roasted sesame seeds in your diet, I like to also have tahini as often as possible. That will help. So a nice generous shake. Too much, just like chia, can make it a little bitter. Now, on the topic of chia, this helps to remove all the gunk that gets stuck in our intestines. And when you remove the gunk, we can absorb these things better, because there's no point investing in the hundreds of pounds that it will cost to have the right diet if you're not absorbing it. And it is worth making that investment because it gets faster fertility results. So for me, I'm not going to put too much chia. These black ones are a lot stronger than the grey. If you're struggling to consume the black, then just stick to the grey. So I did probably half the daily serving. It comes with a scoop, but I like to just put in my own amounts. So that's the basis of it. Then I'm going to add some liquids and some superfoods. Now for liquids, you may prefer, and this is what I would recommend, that you soak some almonds overnight. So this, I'd use about this many almonds, which is 2 heaped handfuls, and you just soak them quite simply in a bowl of water overnight. So I'll have this tomorrow morning. What you do in the morning, you then drain that and then throw it into your smoothie. Now when you do that, it will make your smoothie quite bitty, quite chunky. So be mindful of how you like your texture. If you prefer to have almond milk, look at the back of the label, make sure that that's all you're getting. This is a great brand. I'm not fully endorsing it. I'm not paid to endorse it, but look at the back of the label. They'll only have the almonds. Unfortunately, they do mix it with rice. It's 2% almond, the rest is rice, along with some oil and water and salt, but at least that's it. There's no E numbers, no chemicals. I won't put this in today, the almond milk. I prefer hemp milk personally because of the rice content. Now, rice is a carb that can help add weight to you. It's processed. Also, if you've got thyroid problems, not recommended to have the rice. So instead I have the hemp milk. The only downfall with the hemp milk is that they use grape juice instead of sugar and all that other stuff. And grapes do have a lot of sugar. So again, you want to make sure that this is not too calorific. I like it quite creamy and sweet, so I like to add that. But you could get away with just having water for your smoothie. Now, if you note, the water that I use comes from glass bottles. This is fizzy water. I like fizzy water. You don't have to have fizzy. But it's important that you have good, clean water. And good, clean water means not from a plastic bottle because it releases chemicals that mimic hormones, such hormones that you just don't want to affect your hormones. For example, phytoestrogens, fake estrogens will be created if you're using plastic. So just please be mindful of that. The other thing I'd like to do is add a little bit of a sweetener. Now this is fertility honey. I don't know whether you can see on camera, if I hold that up, it looks quite different to normal honey because this is the whole beehive. So you've got the propolis, you've got your vitamins A, D, E, and K, you've got so much going on, you've got your royal jelly. It's amazing, really immune strengthening, and I like to just pop it in there. If you want to go even sweeter, because it depends on how sweet your raspberries are, and you're not balancing it with bananas or dates, because again, they're quite calorific, but also they're not life force foods, and I want you to get as much life force into your body as possible. So you can just add a little bit more honey, because this is much sweeter than the other honey, the fertility honey I put in, also called medicinal honey. If you'd like to buy any of the things that you can see, the honey, the superfoods, etc., I sell it all online at awakeningfertility.com. Another ingredient before I add the superfoods is the avocado, which is brilliant for fertility, but also a lemon. Now, I'm going to keep the skin on, so therefore I'm only going to have half a lemon. This skin, this pith, helps to penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and it helps the nutrients that you're consuming to absorb into the body on a deep cellular level. I did de-seed this before I filmed it, but just checking there's no more seeds, you don't need them. And this is why I added a little bit more honey, because it can go quite bitter. Now for the good stuff, avocado, make sure it's ripe, preferably organic, but because it has a skin, if you're on a budget, you could get away with a non-organic avocado. But again, it won't be as nutrient dense. So it just depends on how quick you want to fall pregnant and how committed you are to your fertility lifestyle changes. I like it quite creamy, so I would use a whole avocado. You could even do the avocado seed. And I won't do it today because it does take a little bit longer to blend, but avocado seeds are really healthy, and I'd look it up online, but you'd need something powerful like a Vitamix to help you to break it down. And then we come on to the oils. Now, as long as you have a raw virgin coconut oil in a glass jar, I don't mind what brand you use. Just as long as it's in a glass jar, again, you're avoiding the phytonutrients, and it's got to be raw and it's got to be organic. Now, for the yummy stuff. This realm here, I'm going into the superfoods, you really need to body test for, because I can tell you, yes, these are great for fertility, but they may not be good for your fertility now. So if you'd like to learn how to body test, please do get in touch. Otherwise, as I've already body tested this, marine phytoplankton is full of energy. It's the basis of life, the basic building blocks, even exists in space. So I put in quite a lot because I like a lot of energy. The other thing that I like to use is chaga. It's a medicinal mushroom. It strengthens the immune system, keeps the thyroid functioning really well, which is what you need for pregnancy. You need a healthy, balanced thyroid. I also invest in Shield. Now, Shield is an array of medicinal mushrooms that really feed the body. They feed the body's central nervous system as well as immune system. Then we come on to the classic Maca. Now, Maca is renowned for fertility, but again, you've got to body test it. It may not be good for you now, and it's not always good for me. So I do test it regularly. Now, if this is how much Maca I'm using, I use 1/4 of that amount of lucuma, but you need to have lucuma with your Maca to balance it out, to help the body absorb it. Because all this is about maximum absorption. There's no point investing in this if your body can't absorb it. That's why I'm not into supplements, because your body can't absorb it. They're not bioavailable. These are all food sources, foods, whole foods, and superfoods. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Now, I do have a big scoop of marine phytoplankton, already in there. This one is blue-green algae, which is what I was telling you is 10 to 20 times more potent than chlorella. Now, this is going to be quite bitter if you're using a full scoop, so I've opted for half. It's going to go nice and green. The other thing that helps with absorption is vitamin C. Now, there's 2 types of vitamin C that I often use. One is Shine, which I'll show you on my other video. But this one is Baobab. It's not bitter, but it's really bioavailable, and that's what you're looking for. Now, the last things I'm going to add are your colloidals. I've got colloidal silver, which you have more of. So do 30 mils of colloidal silver. And 15 mils of colloidal gold. And this helps with your meditation. It helps to bring your body into full alignment, to deep healing. Again, yes, it's fantastic for health and well-being, and anything that's great for health and well-being is going to be great for fertility, but you've got to body test all these things first and make sure this is what your body wants and needs. To digress, if you didn't want to add so much honey, you could add things like mango, but it's up to you. Now, this is quite creamy. Perhaps you want to compensate some of the oil or the avocado, you could trim one of them down, but again, avocado and coconut oil are brilliant for fertility. So just to recap, if you just wanted it to be purely for fertility, you're on a budget, can't invest in all these other things, the medicinal honey, the coconut oil, the avocado are all amazing for fertility. All right, now let's get it started. I think that's everything I want. Put the lid on. Now you start slow, you go high, and then you drop it down again. But because I've got the superfoods in, you may like to do the superfoods separately. So you'd sprinkle the greens and the brown stuff on, the powders on at the end. For that reason, I'm not going to over blend this, and I don't mind mine chunky. Because if the rotational device gets too hot on the superfoods, it can break them down, and then they're not going to be as good for you. So that's your choice. Either blend it smoothly, then add just a little bit at the end and mix it by hand, or blend it all together, but not to the full extent, which is one of the reasons why I've kept the almonds out. So I didn't even use the tamper stick. That's going to be good enough. So let's give it a taste. You can see how much I've got. That's enough for breakfast and also for morning tea. You can see how chunky it is. Vibrant. And it breaks the food down at a cellular level. so it's easy to absorb. Cheers to your fertility and good health. That does taste quite neutral, despite the amount of honey we put in. It's not sweet. You can taste the lemon. If you've got a sweet tooth, I would recommend throwing in the mango. Mango is not a fertility food though, but they're to enhance the flavour. Cheers.